Mm.
Just gonna
That
reboot.
I don't
Reboot.
know, but we were looking at you frozen in time.
yeah, all of a sudden it said, sorry, Zoom encountered some technical error or something. I was like, what? Come back.
Yeah, no,
Right.
we were
So
here watching you.
that was so weird. Okay. So until I was rudely interrupted by Zoom. Um, so after the detox, it kind of like it was perfect that we weren't aware of certain things, but they were consciously embedded in us somewhere. Like we've gone through the stages, and whichever points kind of resonated with you or not, we went through the steps of it, which are really important in going through a process of self-knowledge, of self-discovery. Like what are we finding within our lives? Maybe have been buried, maybe we haven't dealt with, maybe we weren't aware of, maybe we were perfectly aware of, and still needed that recognition. So after forgiveness, then we go into a detox, which physically, emotionally, hormonally, it kind of gives us that emptying. It gives us, especially in the spring, we're getting rid of all that heaviness. So metaphorically, we're getting rid of this, but we're getting rid of the 5, 6 stages we just went through already. So the body is knowing this. So the next one after the cleanse, which I held for on purpose, is freedom. Freedom is really, really important for women, especially. I believe in our society and through all of time, men have more freedom in everything. And I think us as more empowered women growing up on the other end of the 50s and the like, then we kind of our moms and all still had some of it, but women in general have a suppressed something in us, whatever it may be. And it could be something very, very light, just the feeling of being a woman in a man's world, being a woman competing in a man's world, or having lots of brothers, or whatever level. I think there is an awareness, unless you every minute of your life grew up kind of defeating this and getting around it or getting over it or adjusting to it. If you aren't that person, then somehow you have dealt with this or felt this personally in school, in the workplace, or somewhere. And it doesn't have to be, I'm not going into equality, rate of pay, any of that. I'm talking about physical, feminine, our voice, our feelings, our love, our security, all of this, in my belief and what I've come through, with 30 years of trainings and all this, freedom is empowering. And when you come off of a cleanse and you have that lightness in you and you have that, I think all of us have a different sense of power right now, self-power, like self-identifying. So freedom, in my opinion, and it's come across, it's very, very funny how the world gives you what you need at that time. So I held off on freedom till after the detox. And through the detox, it showed its face to me and other people and in other circumstances of things where people were talking to me about it. And in some healing or in some teaching or something, I came across freedom. And freedom is not a final stage, but as we go through the stages of life, when you find your freedom or you find what it is that you need to be freed from, that is your moksha. That's your liberation. So the last pillar of life is called moksha, and that's liberation. So freedom is now being addressed. I keep bringing everything back because I'm thrilled to death that neuroscience is now validating all of these things that spiritual realms and other traditions have always recognized, and it's always been here. So the biosphere are these messages sent through energy. So energy healings, energy way of getting information, things like that were always looked upon if you were a very Western kind of a, analytical thinker, that all of the, the biosphere and the quantum fields and all of this is like, what are you talking about? That doesn't, so people now are there's proof, measurable wavelength proof that energy within, not just like, photons in light, in light years to get, from here to the sun, all that, not that kind of energy, healing energy, is actually known and measured now scientifically. So this next stage of our series is freedom, and how it, when we accept it, or when we get to something that we want to be freed from, or where we're able, someone does this for us, it sends out healing, but the healing waves can be transmitted to other people, to other things. It can be receptive from other. So healing on a completely different level happens in energy, not just in medications or diets or food or spices or herbs or oils. Energy is a freedom within itself, because it actually physically can heal. So if you can find, we all have something, I believe, that has been holding us down, holding our voices as women. Thyroid issues are much higher in women than they are in men. A lot of, if you look down to the lower quadrant of a female, our reproductive organs, so that's our second chakra, that fluidity, that hardening, we have digestive issues, we have inflammatory diseases, things like that. That is all women holding on to things. That is an actual decay in those organs. So if we've had issues, some of you have discussed things that went on in your childhood, parents, women who have been sexually abused, generally speaking, have very, very locked, like second chakra thyroid issues, to where like an actual thyroid cancer, abdominal issues, lower, within cancers within that, ovarian cancers, things. And it actually is a physical body reaction to being, to holding on to stress, or not believing that we have the voice, or that we have someone that's going to validate us. So we give up our wings of freedom when we are physically kept in ourselves. So sometimes it's ourselves doing it because we're women and we don't think like men can just get things out and they can fire away and have it out in a duel or something, or but they don't have the same hold on us that we do. Like even within our workforce, we could work with a whole bunch of different people and think that we're on equal levels, but somehow there's a senior officer, or there's someone that has a little level above us. So that's just this is work, example. But as we get to the part where we can free ourselves from whatever it is, whatever our issue is, and we feel validated or supported or cared for or believed, that's a huge one. To actually feel believed that what your beliefs are real, and that someone is willing to fight for you. That's when the real, that whole circle of our full body and our full potential actually starts to come out. And that's when the body, the mind, the emotions, the hormones, that's when things really start to heal. Like that is when the body reacts to the wisdom and the love or the nourishment or that release. You physically now can measure if someone is like hooked up to the different testing that they have, where they actually put it on particular pulses, your nerve endings and things. It's a physical response in the body, generated energy. So I find it very fascinating that science now can validate what's been going on for thousands and thousands of years. But there's certain therapies and things that assist this to get that stuck, those actual stuck energies, as we know, decay the body. So they're Reiki therapy, music therapy, but they're finding within the whole realm of therapies, the actual, like the Reiki and T-touch. T-touch is this really cool thing that was started with horses. and it's only like 100 or so many years old now. It's a very new therapy, but someone within the healing realm within their hands started it. And then this woman, Linda Tellington Jones, she started doing it more and more as a practice on the horses. So within our bodies, say you have a thyroid issue, you start at 6 o'clock, and then you make tiny little circles, but it has to go a circle and a quarter, and it can't be more and it can't be less. So the neurons within your skin, the actual connection of energy has to be 6 to 9. And you just gently touch from 6, let me go around backwards, to 9. And then you just do it again, 6 to 9. It could be your heart. It could be a physical part on your body, but you can start in wherever it is where you
Debbie,
need.
your screen was frozen. Can you show that again? The 6 to 9. What are you talking about?
Yes. So Tellington touch is moving the skin gently from 6 all the way around to 6, and then you stop at 9. So it has to be a circle and a quarter.
Mhm.
Somehow that's the perfect release where the body, actually the energy within the body, within the neurons and the transmitters actually get connected. If you do too much or too little, it's just not the same. And so a thyroid would be here. Someone like, if your heart is stuck or your heart is ailing, just gently, like you just move the skin. If you have an animal that is sick or an animal that is ill or in some way, you can do it within the body. Like you find that animal's heart center, usually like in a horse, it's up here on the shoulder, and then energy flows both ways this way.
Do it once or you do it multiple times?
You can do it. You can just keep doing it. If you want to sit there and do it like on your dog, if you want to sit there and do it on the dog for an hour when you're watching television, it sends chemical messages to the body to connect these energy fields for healing.
Do you go the same direction or you
Yeah,
go
always the same direction.
only
So you're
one
going in a
direction?
clockwise. So you're
Clockwise.
going 6 to 9, 6
Or
to 9,
Clockwise. Wait a minute, right?
6.
Clockwise on your body.
Mhm.
I mean, as your hand.
Yes.
I mean, you know what I'm saying? It's like, what are
Yes.
you saying? With clockwise in which direction?
Oh, I
Or from
gotcha. Yes.
What perspective?
Perspective of if I could flip myself around. So here's my 6 right now, but see, you're seeing me backwards. So I'm going from 6, I'm going to my right shoulder, my neck, down to 3 o'clock, down to 6 o'clock, back up to my right shoulder.
Ah,
In tiny, tiny little, like if I was to do it on my arm, I would just go like this. And you're just tiny, tiny pulling the skin. You're not pressing hard. You're just doing it.
Are we
And
all
then-
touching ourselves right now?
I am touching myself. So
Hey, I okay, never mind. I'm not.
to do it multiple times, like, do you have to take your hand off of your skin?
Well,
is
then you
just-
move it, and then you can move it to another. So you just stay there, and there's a stop. Yeah, and you do lift it a tiny, tiny bit. And then you do it again, and then you stop. And then you go back to 6, up to 9, 6. And then you can just move it on your body, or if it's your heart, then you know how the heart is like that. It's that highway in and the highway, out. So everything
Uh-huh.
comes in here. So you could do it here and generate in all directions after. But doing it for, say, a person, this is really working beautifully. You have a person that is not a catatonic or a coma per se, but even someone that is kind of maybe dementia and unaware of things. You just do it like on their forehead, you touch them, and then you do it. And if you slowly do it on different parts of the body, if they were being measured for these levels of energy, they would have an energy response. So it's amazing what from what they find in the biosphere, that the actual feeling of that Reiki energy or that healing energy or is actually has more effect on a person than all of the other therapies. And people going through cancer that aren't having these therapies, but maybe you're listening to a meditation music or something, are not having anywhere near the measured effects of energy healing in the body, physical energy brought channeled through someone into. So it's really fascinating to connect that freedom from the body, like especially for women. There's all these different things that move energy in us and facilitate that. But I encourage all of us to find, as we go through the last series, like something that was in us, or maybe something we're carrying, like I said, from childhood or grammar school or family related or something, to really let it go, like be free somehow.
So, Debbie, do you have any information about the emotional freedom technique, the tapping on the chakras? Have you
I have done
encountered
that. I have done a few times. I actually, last year I used to tap a lot. I would go into tapping. I used to tap in the morning to activate, like before I did a Reiki session or something. And I would just tap, and that's supposed to be very, very profound if you do that. And especially on your heart, and women on your thyroid, women on your heart. If you're having a bad period, if you're having like certain things going on, tapping down on your ovaries. But
but from what I understood, the key of that wasn't, it's not just the tapping, it's the framework, the verbal, emotional, mental framework that
it's the releases, like the words that you're choosing.
Yes, the thing that you tap on. So you're physically tapping on your body, but you've already chosen a phrase or a something or other, and that's really the key.
Yes, because you're connecting that vibration to the body. You're connecting the word into a physical part of your body.
Exactly.
Yeah, so you can do the chakras as well.
Right. So I just didn't know if you had encountered that. And
yeah, I did it a lot last year. Sometimes when I would wake up and I would feel stagnant or stuck or on some kind of a mission or something like that, I would tap. And sometimes I would tap instead of doing yoga. I would just like tap for 20 minutes or something. So,
Ashley.
bye, Ash. We love you.
Bye. I'm gonna have
love you, ladies. Talk soon.
to. I've got a call that I got to jump on to.
Absolutely. Well,
so can I go back to this question on the 6 to 9 and the Kellington touch? Okay, so if we do that, like, of course not ourselves, but on, somebody else, is that, like, will that help with whatever that ailment is in that area?
Yeah. That's what that's for. It's connecting the tissue. It's connecting energy to the tissue.
Huh. Okay.
Yeah, it's very, very, very cool. And there's certain, marks on the body, like there's certain marma points and things you could follow like that if you're just trying to move energy. But a lot of it with the horses, it started because horses were they were trained too much like one-sided, or they were, something going on where one side of the body was locked or kind of junked up a little, and they started doing releases on these horses that you could tell because their hooves were off. So you can always tell, like if one side of the body is getting too much pressure or something, it's going to change the mechanism of the foot. And then the foot, of course, all that energy comes up into the horse's body. Or if the horse jumps and jumps and jumps and jumps, and then the shoulders are getting all that, or has a bad fall, like mine did, like things like that, physical ailments, it actually blocks the energy. Like the energy can't get past that part. So it decays faster. So you're trying to, with the horses, you're trying to connect energy from their central part to keep moving in both directions, especially up here in the cranial on them, because everybody teaches their horse to like go around like this and like be in that perfect dressage.
Yeah.
It's like walking around like this all day long. And then someone says, okay, relax. And you can go like this. After a while, horses can't do that. They're stuck. Their physical muscles got stuck this way. So that's why you feed a horse on the floor, like on the ground. You want them to do this. You want them to stretch their neck out because they're jammed up. And when they're nervous, they do the same thing. They hold their head back and those muscles get like cinder blocks. Same thing in a human body. So.
Okay.
So freedom. So to me, freedom is an enormous part of any healing process or any emotional or even strength pathway you take yourself through. That whole self dynamics ends with freedom, liberation, like let it fly. So I have was going back to our agenda when we were frozen. So mindfulness practices, all that help within it, but the actual, and even doing Reiki, that people were like, how can you do distant healing? Like, how is that possible? But we understand that energy travels. And they're saying, well, you know, EMF fields.
Powerful it is.
Yes. So energy. So if you have an intention or a person, you know, energy travels there, you know, it absolutely and becomes receivable by another person. So
like the power of prayer, they say, you know, when everyone's praying.
Exactly. And that positive energy and that, you know, and yes.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. Amazing, right?
Yeah. Interesting.
Mo, I can't believe it. I was looking at our agenda. You and because of your profound results within the 12 months, because you're coming up on 12 months.
I know.
And
I was so happy. I mean, and it was, you know, of course we could share because it's Colleen, but it was because I had my endocrinologist, my gynecologist, my internist, and every one of them, you know, they're like, what are you doing? Oh my God, your numbers are the best they've ever been, and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh my God. But the best, as you know, was like, I mean, I've had abnormal pap smears for over a decade, and this was the first normal one. And I'm like, are you kidding me? I don't have to go back in. You don't have to take a snippet again like you've done every effing year for, you know, and she was like, nope, see ya. And I just went, oh my God.
Yep.
Yeah. And so I sent her this text and I was like, hey, yeah. And she's like, can I share that? I go, everything except the pap smear. You're more than welcome to share.
I have to, I definitely am going to do that on the website and for testimonial, because people want to see like a before and after. You know, people are always kind of skeptical, and then you have a course and an offering, and they're like, oh, I don't want to invest that much money in myself and all this. And you're like, no, you don't get the amount of money you're going to be saving at the end of this journey. Like,
I think I've saved a ton because I don't need the medicine. I don't need
the medicine. Look at the dietary things we used to buy at the store that we're finding aren't too necessary.
And then the healthier it's and I was going to say this to Colleen, it's taken me all this time, not like I couldn't get there in 3 months. When we did that 3-month thing, I'm like, no, I need more. I knew I needed more. And then even at 6 months, I'm like, I'm not there yet, you know. And of course, you know, with everything I went through last year and all of my stress and everything, which I know I drove you crazy with, and I'd be like, I just need to talk, you know, like it was just okay. So then I look back and, you know, I was there going, oh my God, my mother will be gone a year in June. It's such a freedom. And I was thinking, but, and then of course, you know, and with Frank's passing, which was a huge freedom. And when you said that, and I was writing down, yes, I'm free to live my life.
That's why your body's physically healing.
Correct.
And changing.
It's finally healing after 40 years of madness.
Yeah. And that's what it's about. About the knowing and the knowing how and the recognizing.
Yeah. And I'll catch myself and I do. And I'm like, this isn't good for me. I have to walk away. Or, you know, I'll feel that anxiety. I'm like, oh, no, I'm not doing that. And separate myself from it. And it's really great where I'm like, I don't care if you don't understand why I'm walking away or not. It doesn't matter.
That's right.
What I'm doing.
Right. It was no longer serving me. Goodbye.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm like, no, I'm good. But yeah, no, I wish my daughter would do this beyond belief. I really do, because it would be so helpful for her, but I'm still working on that. I'm working on it with her.
Yeah. Sometimes it takes them a little bit longer, but when they start to see like other people and other things, and, you know, she'll get to the point where she's in a serious relationship and wants to get married or have kids or whatever. And, you know, like Ashley's story is amazing. You know, 4 years of IVF, and she was so pitta, everything in her life was pitta. And I understood Ayurvedically why not so much why she wasn't getting pregnant, but things that could be interrupting that process.
Right.
And she's that pitta. So she went in at 100% and did the detox, and she had a vision. She had a focus that her body was going to have this baby. And we got her from pitta to kapha, because kaphas can have babies so easily. Kaphas are set up for that structure and that juiciness and that loving and that caring. And she's pitta kapha. So if you can get people to understand how they're made up, that's when they understand how to deal with things. And she was pregnant by June or July, I think.
Oh, right. It was like, oh my God.
Yeah. So that's why I love what I do.
Oh, totally. I think it's great.
Yeah.
And it shows, Deb. Sure does. You're very passionate.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. Well, again,
the first day I met you in college, when I saw that mushroom in our refrigerator, I was like, this girl's different.
I met her in psych class.
Yeah. Maureen, can I have your notes?
I know. I'm like,
I missed that. Can I have your notes?
Oh, can you? Oh my God, no. So then we started recording and remember.
Then we got a little smarter.
Yeah, I'm like, wait, this isn't working. Yeah, that's it. Wow.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been, I mean, I don't know. It's been so good for me. And it's helped me in dealing now with stuff that's going on with my husband. So it's just so like, okay, I got this.
Yeah.
I got this, you know, and him now embracing, saying, okay, well, what are you doing? Okay, I'll do that too. Okay, good.
Yeah. It's great. It takes a while. You can't ever push someone else into doing what you're doing.
I just end a call whenever we're done. I just, you know, will tell him, hey, so this is what was on my call today. Like, you know, and so now every time I know when I go out now, I go, so what was it today? You know, like now he wants me to tell him, whereas before he'd be like, oh, whatever, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Where most people come from, and then they're like, wait a second, what? Or like you said, people are like, what are you doing? Things are different. Like you.
Exactly. What are you doing differently? Well,
let me tell you.
I go outside with my bare feet, even when it's cold, and go to the grass where I'm like, are you nuts? I'm like, nope, it's okay. I need to be one with the earth and do all the things that I would never have done. Yeah.
I know. I walk around outside in the morning barefoot in my like little pajama shirt. I wouldn't have done that like 4 years ago.
No, I wouldn't have. Or when I'm like, oh, I need this cold. Okay, I'm not, instead of like cold water being like, oh my God, I'm like, okay, this is going to be good. You know, it's that whole different mindset. It really is.
Yeah. I mean, I think it takes a while though. It's a lot of information to retain, and just to all of a sudden just know, oh, I got to do this and this. Oh, you know, you just
that's why it takes a whole year.
Yeah.
First you know the information, it's written in words. Then the second quarter you start to live it, and it starts to become a little bit more of just like your habit, your daily. And then by the third quarter you feel like you're mastering things, and then by the fourth quarter then you're experimenting, like then you're doing.
I mean, right now I just feel like everything's like right here in my notes.
Yeah, and that's what it is.
For me to really practice, I have to like look back at my notes, because I forget.
That's exactly where you're supposed to be.
Which is like why I'm anxious to, like, you know, to really get more practice and really put this into play on a much bigger level.
Yeah.
I used to go around with these sticky notes. Okay. And because thing was the Kaiser method, and I'll tell you what I did. And each one of these was one new thing I wanted to add, and I would put it in different places. I put some in the laundry room. I'd have some in the mirror by my bathroom, and then some in my closet. And I'd be like, oh yeah, that's right. Because it was the only way. And I kept them. I have them, you know.
Exactly what I did.
Yeah. And I just had these little, just one sentence sticky notes of remember to breathe, or go do this, or, hey, you know, they're cheesy, but they were mine in the stuff that you would teach us. And I would take it out of my notes and I would leave these notes. So if I was doing laundry, I'm like, yeah, I'm going to do that. You know what? Let me take 30 seconds right now and just breathe. And that's what all started. But I did one thing at a time. And
Kaizen,
then
one thing continuously.
I'm in all these habits that if I don't do these habits, I'm like, oh my God, how did I not brush today? You know, I mean, and then I go,
I didn't do that at all. I gotta
yeah,
add that. The
That can be,
brushing, didn't do that once.
that can be added whenever or whenever
Yeah.
not. I don't do it all the time.
Yeah.
I keep it right there by the shower, but I don't do it all. I don't remember.
Kind of what I felt like I really had more time for was just like being more mindful of my diet. Like a lot of that other stuff, I was a little overwhelmed, but I'm ready for that. Yeah.
Each level is different.
Yeah.
Can't believe it's been a year. Yep. Oh my God.
You're graduating, girly.
Holy moly.
I actually had lunch with two ladies today, and I'm going to pass your information on to her, Debbie. They were where I used to live in on Red Squirrel in Willbrook. The lovely gentleman that lived across the street from me, his wife had passed, and he was just a single guy, you know, and had Tim lived in Maryland, whatever. Every time he was just so sweet. I mean, we'd have dinner together. Sometimes he would come over and mow my lawn all the time. His two daughters one's a year older than me, and one is 2 years younger than me. And their dad is now passed. But they came into town, and we just had lunch today. And one of them, the younger one, I connect with her way more than the other one's like super high strung, and the younger one is just, she's just all, we were talking today at lunch, we were talking about energy, and she's all about just, you know, she's a big yoga person and diet person, and all about she goes to energy healers and stuff like that. So I know the two of them have gained some weight that they're not like super happy about, and they both went, this was so crazy, we're all like the same age. They all were in 20+ year marriages, all three of us, and we all got divorced within 18 months of each other. It's kind of nuts. So I feel like the two of them are just harboring little stuff with their exes. Their exes have been married, remarried, divorced, like crazy stories, but they're still single, don't date a whole lot. And I feel like they're still wishing, hoping like that there's an opening with the old, and I'm thinking, why? You need to move on from that.
Yeah.
But I think
please give them my information.
I think it could really be beneficial, especially for the one who's just much more into like energy and all that kind of stuff. So
yeah, you learn so much about yourself taking this whole course, because you learn things that support you. And
I know she's totally completely aware, Ayurvedic, you know, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I'm totally gonna pass your information on to her.
Please do. Best thing is referrals. Yeah.
So the next, Deb, so the next thing is like basically step 2 in this for me would be really diving into all those levels.
Yeah. So that is the actual, like it's living Ayurveda course. So you're actually, it's an introduction to Ayurveda, but the medical side of it. So that is, that's pretty cool. That is, that's like a bit of an outline of what I learned in Manhattan when I went to school. So it has a whole book with chapters. And so like, it's not just me talking and doing, it's actually, it's chapters and chapters that go through the actual physical parts of the body and digestion, what pitta really is, what, you know, kapha is, what are the energies, where are they associated, where are they affecting your body or your mind. And so that's a whole nother level, and pulse reading and things like that.
Okay.
Marma points and facials and stuff. The food, all food, like what food makeup has, like what properties are in what foods and spices and herbs. And so that's another level. That was fun too.
What would you, I never really did the tests or anything like that. What would you consider me?
You are, in my opinion, you are very Vata Kapha. So but I think on the website, and then have you ever gone into the Facebook group yet for the holistic course? I'll definitely, I think I sent you an invite like a long time ago, but in that you should go back through, because it goes right through habit 1, 2, 3 lessons.
Yeah.
And within that is the dosha quiz. There's probably a short introduction to Ayurveda, but you can go through each habit by itself and figure out like, why is this a habit and what does it do and all of that. So I'll send you the invite.
Pitta Vata. So
is that a combination of
Yes.
two things?
Yeah,
Oh.
normally not very many people are only one. We all have all three in us, but
Right.
we're primarily kind of like made up of two. Every so many people, which is not very many, are true tridoshic, where they're all three. And that's kind of hard on the body too. But most people are very strong in one with, one more. Most people are like dual kind of, or your mind can be one. Like my mind is more pitta and my body is more vata. So I'm vata pitta, but everybody is different. And then once you really start to learn them, that's the fun, because relationships get to be completely understood and dealt with. When you understand who you're dealing with,
I think that's what I really want to know too, especially, yes. I mean, I want to know what if body effects, but I really want to know how I can help figure out other people, like, oh, okay.
That's what's wrong with you.
Yeah. So yeah, you start to understand people on a totally different level.
I know a lady who can help you. You know what you are? Yeah. Oh my God. Or just how to, and how to, as we've talked about before, and how to deal with them.
Yeah. We can do a workshop. It's basically like a dosha workshop, dosha and relationships. Yeah, we've had people, in school and stuff that say, oh, understanding my dosha and all that saved my marriage. Absolutely saved my marriage.
That might be a good workshop, I think.
Yeah. I'm gonna write that one down so that we don't forget and pass right by that one.
Yeah.
Or do like a couples thing with husbands and wives on that.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. Let me focus on how I can. Oh.
Anyone in your children's, because I know it's not our age anymore, but in your children's age that are getting pregnant, having babies, postpartum, like all of that, because I just did a call the other day, and now I'm turning it into a workshop, because Ayurveda postpartum is an amazing care that we have never been taught as Western women, how to replace our ojas that gets completely depleted after giving birth.
I'll ask Megan. Most of hers are just getting married. Like, she's doing all these weddings, but not having yet.
Because my girls are in that. So I'm going to send that information out. So I'm just writing that workshop right now.
Cool.
Yeah. It's pregnancy and postpartum are huge in Ayurveda.
Yeah.
And the care and all for the baby.
I could have used it 35 years ago. I had bad, I guess when was it Andy? I think when Andy was born postpartum.
Oh gosh.
Yeah. So yeah, I could see that be very helpful.
Yes, because your body changes so much, and to baby, to have to teach them to understand it is huge.
Well, in Ayurveda, the care goes to the mom. Like most of the care goes to the mom, so the mom can care for the baby.
Which makes sense.
So massage and food, and so the workshop that I just had, it's like lining up these things for these women whose people want to help. Who's going to go run to the grocery store? Maybe you and your husband or someone can. Who's going to do that? You do meal train. Who's going to bring food in? But there's particular foods. You don't want vata food. Like, you don't want all of those break the body down. You've got to nourish the body again. Super soupy, oily, warm foods that going to go through digestion so simply and gently. Not going to give them a big steak with, béarnaise sauce and,
oh my God.
People would be like, oh, yay, I can't wait to eat this now. Bring on lobster or whatever. The body's like, what? All your organs are all up here and out of place. Like you get bound. People are starting to get back into binding, but why are you doing it? Like, there's particular reasons, your stomach.
Like physical binding? Like
binding your stomach back up to help it go back where it's supposed to go back. It's a support.
Corset kind of binding?
But it's a soft cloth. It's a particular way that you wrap around the abdomen of the body after birth. So there's all these different things that are beautiful. Self-massage, or massaging the mom, then the mom massages the baby. So it's really cool stuff. Beautiful stuff.
I'll ask.
Yeah, I'm going to send out send it out probably in an email. So if you guys get the email and you know somebody to pass it on to.
Okay. I've got, well, some people, ladies at work that are pregnant. I'll send it to them. Send it to me. I'll send it over to them.
Okay. All right, ladies, beautiful call.
Thank you.
Debs.
You are welcome. I love you both.
I'm sorry, I have to say this. I love cheese. I will never eat fake cheese. Cannot do it.